We've had a question asking how to train for multiple challenge events in one season or year. And this is actually a really good point, because once you've tasted that sense of fulfillment that you get from taking on a sport walking challenge, you're going to want it again and again. But how can you take on multiple challenges in one year without overdoing it? Well, it's all down to planning and prioritizing. The key to success here is to identify two things: the event or events that are most important to you, and those that represent the toughest physical test. Now, it could be that your most important event is also going to be your hardest, but that's not always the case. It could be that a shorter event, which isn't so important to you, has more demanding terrain and is therefore a tougher challenge physically, albeit for a shorter duration. So consider both the importance and difficulty of the challenge. Now, it is quite tricky to explain simply how to juggle multiple challenges with differing goals in one season. But the one thing you must do is prioritize. You first need to prioritize the event or events that matter the most to you, where you want to do really well. And then you also need to give respect to any others that represent a tough physical test. The most important thing for you to do is to plan your training so that you peak for your most important challenge, not just the first challenge that year. So if perhaps you've got a shorter challenge lined up a month or two before a big challenge that's really important to you, you need to structure your training to peak for the important challenge, not the first shorter challenge. This means that you'll need to treat the first one as a part of your training build-up, and so you'll need to adjust your challenge pace accordingly so that you don't go too fast and deplete your reserves. But getting the build-up to your important challenge right is only half of it. Once that's done, everything you do in training is about maintenance, about not losing the fitness and sharpness you've gained in the build-up to that event. So the weeks or months between your important event and any others you're taking on shouldn't be seen as core training time. It should be seen as maintenance, preserving the fitness you've already gained and carrying it through to the next test. Think of it as keeping your fitness, strength and sharpness ticking over, rather than training yourself to become faster and stronger for the next challenge. You want to be focusing on making progress and improvements before your big challenge. And after that, you're simply preserving what you've gained. You can look to make further improvements over the next winter, ready for the following season, and so on. Personally, I wouldn't take on more than 2 100-kilometre events in any one season, unless you're an experienced sport walker. But you could take on a mixture of different distances, providing you can space them out enough to give your body time to recover. And that really is key to all of this. After a major challenge, you need to give your body at least 2 to 3 weeks of recovery before returning to structured training for your next event. And that really is about all you need to know to take on multiple events in one season. Just remember, identify your most important events and train to peak for the first of these, even if it means going easier in a challenge earlier in the year. Remember that recovery after challenge is more important than training for the next one. If you get your recovery wrong, you won't be able to train effectively for the next challenge. View the time between challenges as being all about maintaining and preserving the fitness, strength and resilience that you develop during your training for your first important event, not about building more fitness and more strength. Most importantly though, be honest with yourself at every stage. It's fine to do multiple events in one season, but if you overdo it, you could put yourself back months or even longer. Listen to your body and defer an event to the following year if you don't feel 100% recovered and ready to go again.